Everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. I just wanted to show you this. I got this at Dollar Tree right by my house for $3, and it's EVA foam. And I have used packs like this in the past that I did not pay $3 for to make some pretty killer terrain pieces. I just spray painted them black and used stamps to do like brick patterns on them and stuff. Hand painted some of them, just did different stuff like that. Made some wood, and it turns out really good. But for $3, I don't think you can really. It's so durable and sturdy, and it's going to last forever. I think you really can't miss on something like this. So if you're going to make an investment, buy some of these while they're at the Dollar Tree. I don't know how long they'll be there. And back to what we were doing. So yesterday we made some tiles for the library, and today we are going to make some bookshelves. I don't really have a plan, so let's start. So for my bases, I'm thinking I'm going to use these thicker tongue depressors because they'll be a little less tipsy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those to start out, and I'm going to get snippers. I'm going to get my flat cutters. They'll be better for this. And I'm going to flat cut some bases or some bottoms for bookshelves. And I'm going to cut these at roughly the same height. That one's not real straight, so I'm going to straighten that out too. All right. I'm going to do these probably 2 at a time just to speed things up. So I'm going to make the bookshelves pretty big because this is like a ancient library. And I'm going to cut some shelves out of the leftover pieces. And I'm going to cut these about the same length. Now, I'm only going to show you guys how to make one set of bookshelves and some ideas of how you could decorate them. I myself am going to have to make a lot of bookshelves. I'm also going to make some, I can't even think English words. I'm going to make some backdrop bookshelves too. Kind of like almost like a DM screen, but it's just to look like bookshelves. So what I'm going to do is, to get going, I'm going to get a tiny bit of glue to hold me in place. And I'm going to get my shelf. Just going to get a tiny bit of glue on there. Get that in place. Okay. I'm going to do another upright. Okay. Now, I'm going to make a couple more of these to put in here. All right. You're just going to and I'm going to let that get good and hot, or good and cool. And then I'm just going to kind of rub that around like that. And you could actually, like if you really want to, other YouTubers do this a lot. They get like wire brushes and stuff, and they rough these blanks up. And sometimes I do too. I'm just not doing it right now. I'm just not in the mood for that kind of silly time madness. So once you get your basic shape there of your bookshelf, and it shouldn't be easy to tip over. Okay. Then you want to get something to use as a backstop or a backdrop or whatever. So you can just get some thin cardstock. I'm going to grab a box real quick. And this is just a coffee box. And then you just have to get that on there like that, you know, and then cut around it. So I'm just going to cut a kind of rough shape. Like that. And then just to make sure that it holds, let me get the finest bit of glue in there. I'm going to shove that down against it. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing up in these corners. Okay. Alright, cool. Then let's make sure our shelves fit in. They should, and they do. And I don't really measure anything if you haven't noticed. Because sitting here and getting everything ready and measuring it, that annoys me. Throwing it in here and having a finished product pleases me. Alright, so I want this to be sturdy. This should be cool enough by now. Okay. Oops. It's sturdy-ish. It's not super sturdy. I'm going to get the plus minor burning hand spell in here. Get rid of them spider webs. Okay. And then we got to get these backs a little more secure. So to get it back a little more secure, all I'm going to do is get some white glue. I'm going to pull the condom off it. Because everybody knows Sweeney doesn't like condoms. I'm just going to kind of shove some of that down in there. Roughly like that. I'm just going to take a piece of the extra cardstock and make myself a little spatula to rub it in all the corners and gaps and everything. Okay. So there's my bookshelf. And hopefully it'll be nice and sturdy. Now we need some books. So to make books is super easy. You can do it however you want. This is how I would do it though. Because like I said, I'm lazy. So what I would do is you don't want all your books to be the same height. You want them to fit on your shelf. So pick a size that you know is going to fit on the shelf. And cut it in an angle. Cut a couple of those. And then, because it's angled, if you snip these off, they will naturally be different heights. And if you do them at different widths with your cuts and not make them all identical, the books will stick in and out at different widths and thicknesses too. Now this is good for your books that are going to populate a shelf. But when you want to put your books on top, we're going to do something a little different. So let's just say these are the books that are going to populate a shelf. And you can't spray paint foam, so you're going to have to base coat this in black or something. I'm going to leave my paper on, okay, just like that. Then I'm going to get a piece of thin cardstock, like this. I'm going to smush that flat. I'm going to get a bead of glue, just like that. Now, if you're really good with your glue gun, you can literally just do that bead of glue, and that's all you need, okay? If you are not that good with your glue gun, or if you don't have a small enough glue gun, flatten it out a little bit. Get your bead of glue. And then stick your paper to it like that. Let it cool. Then whack off your excess paper. Just like this. dropped it somewhere. There it is. Right in the drawer, thank gosh. And then you can make your little bookends like that. All right. So it just really depends on what you're good with and what you're comfortable with. You don't want any little sticky outies. So let's get some glue in here and do our first couple books. We'll do the one that just has the glue on the end. Oops, where's that at? And we'll stick that back on our shelf. And it's good to have a toothpick or something to kind of put it where you want it. Okay. And like I said, these will all be at different different heights, different thicknesses and stuff. Now, alternatively, if you have any kind of small film, something like this would be good. This is thin. You could simply cut this and use this as a book. It'd be a very thick book, but you could definitely do that. Let's throw one in there and see if we can make it work. Okay. And like I said, we don't want our books to be the same exact size. You want to try to make it look organic and normal. You could even get a pair of forceps in here and really get them shoved in tight if you wanted. So that's just different options you have. Like you could, like I'm going to do one here. I'm going to make this one a really thin book out of this kind of rubber. I'm just going to make that into 2 books. Okay, so just go through and get yourself some books going. Different heights is good. No, I've never made bookshelves like this before. That's kind of my thing. I have made bookshelves, just not this quick. So then just come in here and grab some of that glue, some of the spider webs you got. Pull that out of the way. Alright, so for my next shelf, I'd like to have a little skull on it. Do I have any little skulls laying around? Yeah, you're right, I don't. Of course I don't. Do I have any skulls in my parts box? In the parts box you should find skulls, but there's no skulls in my parts box. Oh, 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 oh. Ooh. Looky, looky, found a cookie. I think this is from the Hate board game, if I'm not mistaken. And it's even got like a little spike on the top of it that you could make into a candle if you wanted. I don't want. Okay. So I'm just going to snip off any crap on the bottom that I don't think is going to look good. I'm going to make sure I have a flat bottom that'll glue down. And I might get a little bit of glue on that. I'm going to set it on my shelf at a bit of an angle. Something like that. And then I'm going to continue doing some books. Okay. Now, if it was warmer out, I'd be doing several books on one thing of glue at a time. But since it's cold and my glue's warming up or cooling off very quickly, I'm not going to do that. Dum dum dee doo 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 doo. Now, in theory, my books are not going to be very sturdy because I didn't glue or put a spine on all of them. But as with any craft, you get out what you put in. All right, so we have two shelves looking pretty good there. I have no complaints up to this point. I would like to put like a little vase or something on the next shelf though. So I'm going to go into some beads I have and find something to use. Something that's kind of funky shaped, not too big or silly, but will work out nice. And that could be a nice candle holder on top of it. This could look like a potion bottle. Here we go. Let's get a toothpick, shove it in there, just like that. Snip it off. All right. See if it fits on the shelf. Barely. Put it in a box. I'll take it. Okay. And then we're going to need some books. God, I can't breathe. I hate this. It's like the world's longest COVID. All right, so if you had an assembly line here, you can make this go a lot faster. I don't, but you could. All right, so you grab all your spider webs. You look for your lighter. I mean your minor burning hand spell. Okay. Something like that. Now, I'm going to do a little candle on top. A little decorative candle deal. So to do that, I'm just going to do this. And I'm sure you guys have seen... Oops, knocked my glue down. I'm sure you guys have seen people do different styles of candles over the years. But my plan is to do this. I'm going to cut that off at an angle. Like that. All right, so there's going to be some touch-up spots we're going to need to do. So to do that, I'm just going to get some super glue, and we're going to make sure stuff is sturdy. For example, we want this to be sturdy. We'll just let that glue soak. We're going to hit the corners of the bookshelves and let that dry in there. It might melt some of my books a little bit. I'm not overly worried. Okay. That's going to just sturdy things up. I'm dragging along the base. I'm going to hit the sides of my bookshelves a little bit. Not super attentive though, just a bit. Okay. Then, if you're smart, I'm going to set this off to the side for a moment. Clean up my mess. All right, so we want to make a Mod Podge mix for this to paint in the foam so that we can spray paint this whole thing. All right, and to do that, we need to water it down. And we might as well add dark color to it while we're at it too. Save ourselves a step. Now, if you're doing these in bulk, instead of doing one at a time, this makes a lot more sense. Like you might be thinking, wow, this is taking a long time. Yeah, it is. But if you're doing, 10 of these at once, it's going to, it's not going to be so bad. And the only reason I'm using this Mod Podge right now is to save myself some heartache down the road. We use this little Mod Podge, so I have to try to pour a tiny bit with my big one. Okay, a little bit of Mod Podge. A little tiny bit of white glue. Oh, a little bit more. God, I need to go to like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something. Do a little run. And I'm going to get a tiny bit of water. And I'm going to get some black paint. Okay. I'm going to stir that up. This is just the glue that I had earlier. Okay. Let's hot air gun this bad boy. Oops. That just makes sure any hot glue or super glue we had on there is dry. Then we're going to get a really soft brush with kind of long bristles that we can get in there with our watered down black Mod Podge paint. And this will also kind of glue everything in place better too. Okay, so get it in there. Make sure you shove it into all the cracks at the top of the shelves and stuff. Make sure you get in all the cracks. Let it just soak down in there. I mean, really, you could have just, well, you still could. If you wanted to like bulk paint stuff like this, you could just put like a dab of glue there, stick this to it, and then kind of, you don't even have to black balm these, you know. You probably wouldn't want to make it this watered down though if you plan on not black balming them. I might not, heck, it looks like it's going to work just fine. So you make sure you get it down those cracks. That's important. If you need to drop a little extra wet in there, that's okay. I don't know how well that's going to stick to my glass, but it seems to be sticking to my foam and my plastic just fine. Oh, knocked off my thing on my candle. That's okay. I didn't like it that much anyways. Probably should have put a little baking soda on it if I wanted it to be a permanent addition. Okay. Then you want to set this down. You'll get your glue gun, or your hot air gun. All right. Now, if you're doing what I'm doing and you're going to black balm it, just come over here and grab some of this excess paint off you don't need that came out from the back. I made that really wet to make sure it would get down in there, and put a coating so that my styrofoam didn't melt. And the only styrofoam that's going to melt is this stuff, the dollar store foam. The little foam blocks, the counting blocks and stuff, those won't melt. So just get it cleaned up, get it dry, and we'll come back and we'll paint this for a part 2. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing here, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon and all that stuff.